I'm reasonably okay. The sun's come out. Yeah, seems to be a nice day here. I've been doing a bit of thinking. Yeah, another guitar. Yeah, this one is it's a Fender Hartfield Talon. Very short run on these in the I think late 80s, early 90s. I'm not quite sure. I've had this for a while. It's another one of my old friends, which has kind of been in its case gathering dust. I haven't really been touching it. Strings want changing, but it's awesome. It's got Demartio pickups. I'm not quite sure what they are, but they sound really good. They're really nicely voiced. Got proper Floyd Rose on it, not a copy. It's got one of those TBX tone controls, which I like. Now, what attracted me originally when I got this was because, as you know, I'm a big Vinnie Moore fan. I always have been. Big supporter of the guy since he started out. Yeah. Now we're going to come to the crunch. This is the tough talk. I'm going to be doing a series of tough talks, I think. I mean, this has come out of the lockdown. Getting a bit of hiss. I'm going to turn that off. Stop that hiss from interfering. Yeah. Now, in terms of lockdown, as you're probably aware, I've got a day job. I'm not a full-time musician. So music's kind of shoehorned in and around the actual job I do. And if it wasn't for the lockdown, I'd be spending most of my, well, let's see, most Saturdays I'll probably be getting the train up to Birmingham, have a good mooch around there, go to the music shops like PMT, Fair Deal Music, Guitar, maybe have a look in Hobgoblin as well. Sometimes they have things, and then like the second-hand shops that they've got there. But that gives me a nice day out, and then finish in places like HMV, just to look at, like, you know, DVDs and CDs and things, see if I can find anything there that I like. But the point is, I feel I've got myself into a bit of a slump, and I think I've sort of been compensating by just buying stuff, and that's quite a big admission. You know, rather than actually focusing on what I actually need as a player, you know, I kind of like, I'd see stuff would come in and say, oh, that looks good, and then I'd try it, and then because you got some money, you don't feel as bad about, you know, buying it. You know, you think, oh, like, that's a second-hand guitar that's come in, oh, it's about 300, or oh, it's about 500, oh, I could get that, or oh, that pedal, oh, that looks good, or, you know. And before you know it, it kind of becomes an addiction, because you're endlessly searching for this thing, which you've actually already got. I mean, like I say, I've had this, I've had this since about 2003. Yeah, so what am I saying? I think the analogy, I mean, I said it before in one of my other videos, it was quite a while ago, this thing called guitar beer goggles, like normal beer goggles. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where you know, you have a night out and you know, you kind of, oh, well, she looks all right, and or you know, you just mind your own business, and somebody approaches you, and you know, and you have a bit of a fling, or whatever, or even the other side of, like, say, like dating or whatever, where you might be going out with somebody for a few weeks, maybe a few months, maybe even like a year or more, and you're not really getting on, but something keeps you there, because like the longer you're in one of those relationships, you say, oh, well, we've been together for this long, haven't we? Or we've been through this and we've been through that together, rather than actually analysing, well, where's this going, you know. And of course you do like to think, yes, there is somebody ideal out there waiting, or, you know, you might meet her tomorrow, or you might meet him tomorrow, you know, depending on your particular set of circumstances. And then of course there was it was PMT in Birmingham. I mean, they've moved shops now, but it was in the old shop, and I was trying something out. I think it might have been one of the Vinnie Moore signature guitars that I've got, the first one. And in the corner, there was, like one of the sound booths that they've got. The door was open because it was a nice sunny day like this, and there was a young lad in there with his girlfriend, and he had like this sort of high-end custom Strat and so a really expensive amp. It might have been a Dumble or something like that, but a really expensive amp. And he's playing these blues licks, and like he's got his girlfriend or wife sat next to him, and he's going, he's doing all this, and he's like, really getting into this sort of fantasy of whoever his favourite guitarist is, and he's going, what do you think of this, love? And she's got that typical arms folded, yeah, it's alright, isn't it? Yeah, like, come on, I want to go home, or, I've got things to do, this is boring, So I looked over at her, and then she looked over at me, and it's kind of like mutual acknowledgement, that maybe there's something not quite right there, either with him maybe sort of blowing about 6 or 7 grand on guitar and amps, and me thinking, well, do I really want to buy this or not? Like maybe just spending sort of £200 or £300, seeing what I want to do. But I think the point here is, and this is something that lockdowns taught me, is I should be looking for stuff that's going to improve me as a player. Right. In that sense, then maybe, yes, I do occasionally need to get new stuff. But I also need to look at the core stuff that actually works. I mean, I've been looking at like a couple of documentaries that look like about the 60s, and there's a few interviews with John Lennon, Paul McCartney, when they were young and when they were in the Beatles. And for them, it's more about, right, well, we write songs, we perform, we play in Hamburg, or we've come back from Hamburg, we've started this thing now, we come back to Liverpool, we play in the Cavern, we use what works. So in that instance, Rickenbacker's AC30s, that's hardly going to change. There might be a few things come in, but you wouldn't really get the situation where, like, one day John Lennon says to Paul McCartney, shall I get a Dumble or a Friedman? Yeah, I could do that, couldn't I? Rather than sitting down and, writing one of those great Beatles songs, or like Paul McCartney would be thinking, I'm searching for this sort of ideal Strat, but not writing, not sitting down to think about, say, writing Yesterday, which is probably like one of the best songs they've ever done, So it's just something to think about, really. I mean, and then going back to this, like I say, it's coming back to the core stuff that actually works. And actually what works for me, because you might be influenced by perhaps one or two guitarists, or you might tend to focus on one genre, but as you actually develop, you find your own voice, you find who you are, and your set of experiences, your set of circumstances, they're going to be unique to you, so you're going to be different than whoever. So yes, having influences, that's great, but as long as it's influences plural, and as long as you think, right, well, how does that relate to what I'm doing? How am I progressing as a musician? And then you don't have to be spending, what if I get like £4,000 for a PRS? Yeah, I could do that, couldn't I? You don't need to be doing that, because when the time is right, then you'll be able to decide. You know, I mean, because there's another conversation I had, you know, with somebody was, you know, one of those PRS John Mayer things. I mean, like, I don't know why there's that much controversy about it. You know, because it's vaguely like a Stratocaster, but then again, this is vaguely like a Strat. Nobody's kind of nobody sort of criticised this. You know, well, this is out of production anyway, but. So yeah, slightly different talk today. Please let me know what you think. I mean, yeah, just to close, I mean, there's that supposedly an equation, I mean, written down, I think it was written down in Guitarist magazine or something about the number of guitars you need. What is it? Yeah, the number of guitars you own should be the number of guitars you need plus 1. Well, I mean, like, so that means n plus 1, but like in the maths perspective, omega plus 1 is just like numbers, consecutive numbers, so it's ongoing. It's if you follow that reasoning, you're just going to be spending all your money and you're going to be flat broke. And then something like this pandemic or a recession comes along and you got no money, or you might want to get married and like your girlfriend's going off you because you're spending however much money on junk, which is going to sit in its case. You're not going to play it, and you know, in 6 months' time, you're going to be moving on to a different style because that type of music you're in isn't in fashion anymore. You're going to look ridiculous. You're going to look like that old uncle that dresses up like Elvis and tells you all those stories about when he was in a band and all that lot. So yeah. So food for thought, people. Please comment below. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Thanks very much.